Hey, welcome back to the Transform Your Workplace podcast. I'm Brandon Laws, your host. And today I'm going to do something I have not done in quite a while. We're going to do a solo pod, just me. I'm going to run through something that we've been talking about and doing a lot of at Xenium, and that's recognition programs. I've been on what we call Excite. It stands for Xenium Culture, Integration, Team, and Enhancement. And this committee, this team built up of leadership like me, we have strategic leadership on the executive team, representation, we have employees, and it's a volunteer-based committee. And what this team does is it really focuses on, well, for one, having fun and doing events and things like that and planning things for employees, but also to integrate our values and principles all throughout our people practices. And we team up with HR and marketing, which is me and Julie from my team, to integrate those things in a really fun way that's really tied to our brand. So we've gone through iterations of these recognition programs. We knew that we wanted to tie them really closely to the Xenium Promise, which is our guiding principles that we live by and all the behaviors that we want. So I'll run through what we've done in the past. I've been at Xenium over 11 years now, so I've seen tons of iterations of our recognition programs. We've gone from little kind of spot bonus type things like in the moment, like gift cards and things like that, or just random shout outs and emails when we were a lot smaller. And then we went to a more formalized program. We have an all team meeting every month. And what we do is we allow people to submit nominations for people for like an employee of the month, right? And we would have like written statements, and then we would put them all into a PowerPoint, and then we'd essentially take turns reading the statements within the meeting, and it was really cool because we got a chance to see like the details of what people are doing and the impact they're making. The couple downsides of doing that, and then I'll talk about the upsides. The downsides of that was it takes forever, especially as your team grows, which happened several years ago. So we did that when we were probably 25 employees all the way to 70 or whatever we were at the time. And so we'd spend probably 30 to 40 minutes like running through this PowerPoint and, you know, clapping and high-fiving and all that. The recognition was great though. The other side, that not necessarily a downside, but we just didn't really think much about it, was how do we tie those recognition pieces to the behaviors that we want that tie closely to our Xenium Promise statement. So like, I'll just say a couple of the statements here. So one of them is, I will honor my commitments. I will be solution oriented and leverage my resources to overcome challenges. I will develop myself personally and professionally. And so you can kind of see like the behavior statements that we're after. Yeah, you could say that they're loosely tied, but at some point we're like, we need to be really specific so that way these stick into people's minds about, you know, if somebody's doing something, how is it tied to one of those things that we want more of? So we sort of scrapped that whole recognition program. I will say what was great about it was, you know, somebody who like me is pretty isolated at times, you get a chance to see what people are doing and how they're interacting and the impact that they're making. That part I absolutely loved. And so we didn't want to get away from that necessarily. So what we ended up moving to was, we call this and I'll put a link to the download so you can actually see a visual of this. I know it's going to be hard for me to talk through it, but I think you're going to get a lot of value just from me talking about it. And then when you see it, it's kind of like you read a fiction book and you like have this vision in your mind of what it looks like. And then, you know, you see a movie and it's like, oh, that's what it looks like. So I'm going to do that for you. I'm going to just talk through it, and then you can download this and, you know, make it your own however you want. But we moved to a program called the High Five Recognition Program. And we have these little cards, like these little handouts we call wow cards. Essentially what they do is they allow people to recognize somebody in the moment for pretty much anything. So as I said, we have these 4 kind of broad-based category statements that are within our Xenium promise. They are: take ownership for my success, speak openly and sincerely, be a source of inspiration, develop and foster relationships. So those are the 4 categories. And then there are 3 to 4 behavior statements under each of those categories. So the idea is that if somebody does something like, here's an example. Say there was a huge event I was putting on, and I asked somebody to speak, and they followed through on that, and they just did an amazing job. And it made me a hero, and they came through, and everything was flawless, right? So I might grab a wow card. I might check a box under take ownership for my success. There's a behavior statement called I will honor my commitments. So I might check that box. And on the back side, on the front side, you can add the person's name and then your name if you wish, unless you want it anonymous. But on the back side, you could describe the behavior and the action that was demonstrated that ties in with that value statement. So they'd fill it out. The person nominating would give it to one of our Excite team members. We would track it, and then and we track it in like an Excel spreadsheet so we can see how many people are getting. And then we give the wow card to the person that was nominated. Then in the all team meetings that we have, we share who got what. And we put their names up on the board. The one thing that we're missing, which we're still trying to figure out, is we're not reading all of these. We have too many people at this point, and the thing that we're missing that we had with the old recognition program was we're able to see the details of what people are doing. So when we just put their names on the board and where they fall under one of the principles, we're kind of getting a sense for what they did, but not precisely what they did and the impact that they're making. So that's something we're still working on. This program is great though, because for one, people specifically see the impact that they're making. They get to collect these cards and they get to turn them in for prizes. Like one of the bigger prizes we have is like extra PTO or bottles of wine, or they can even put $100 towards like charity of their choice. So there's some really, really good outcomes in this recognition program, but we're still, iterating and tweaking. But we've had this program for probably for 3 years at this point, and it's really working well. I think for new employees in the onboarding process, in fact, I just talked with a group of new employees the other day. This program is really simple to understand. It empowers people to take action, to recognize people in the moment as they see it. So I like it for that reason. It's easy to understand. These cards, we have thousands of them printed out, and we have them all around the office, so people can grab it, fill it out, recognize people on the spot, and it's a really great program. So I just wanted to do a quick podcast to talk about this WOW card program, the high five recognition program that we're doing. It's very valuable to us. We're still trying to get better. We continue to talk about how we could recognize people. And of course, we do other recognition things too. We have spot bonuses where somebody could give $50 on the spot to somebody that just seriously went above and beyond. And it has to be really specific, and it has to really have made an impact. So I think, I want to leave you with this. Recognition programs and appreciation programs are really important. And this is what I believe. I think they're the most important at the grassroots level. I think you empower your people to do it. That's how you change culture. I don't know it's set by leadership in general. I think all the books will say that, and the leadership pundits will say that. But I truly believe, and I think most people would believe this too, that in order for it to really spread and to truly be ingrained in the culture, your people have to be bought into it. And this puts the power in people's hands. So I want you the call to action is, I want you to go check out this card, see what we're up to. But more importantly, I want you to reach out to me on like LinkedIn or Twitter or Instagram or something like that. And I want you to share with me what kind of recognition programs you're doing. And I want to see how it compares. Like I said, we're always trying to get better. So I want you to steal this if you don't have a recognition program, because it's been working for us. But I want you need to have your own principles, of course. But more importantly, I want to learn from you too. This is a great community we built. I think we can learn from each other. So hop on social media, connect with me, and I want to hear what kind of recognition programs you're doing. I'm going to start like a LinkedIn thread. So make sure to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'll probably when this releases, I'll make a post that says something to the effect of like, here's our recognition program as mentioned in the podcast. What are you doing? I'd love for you to engage and talk about some of the things that you're up to, because I think we're all going to be better if our people are happy, healthy, they're recognized and appreciated. We're going to have great organizations as a result of it. So thanks for tuning in for this short pod. I hope you didn't mind listening to me nonstop, but it was a shorter one, so you can thank me for that. Make sure to connect with me on LinkedIn, on Twitter and Instagram, and be sure to subscribe to the podcast. And if you are willing to give a 5-star and even written review on Apple Podcasts, that helps us book great guests, and it helps people like you find the podcast. So thanks for spreading the word and engaging on this podcast, and thanks for listening. Take care.